Namaste. Today I'm going to tell you the story of Diwali. This happens a long time ago when Dashratha was the king of Ayodhya. He had 3 wives and 4 sons, Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata and Shatrughna. All 4 of them were married. And it was a very happy family. The 4 brothers were very close to one another. They loved one another. The wives were very happy. Everyone was happy, and all the people of the land were extremely happy. And Rama was the crown prince, and it was time for him to be coronated. The entire city was so happy because Sri Rama was the best king anyone could possibly have. All the 4 brothers would make very good kings, but everybody loved Rama. But now what happens is Dashratha's 3rd wife, Kaikeyi, who was the mother of Bharata, was very upset. Okay? And for various reasons, she goes and tells her husband, the king, Dashratha, that Bharata, her son, should be made king and Rama should be banished or sent away to the forest. And unfortunately, Raja Dashratha, because he had given a promise to his wife, to Kaikeyi, a long time ago, he couldn't take his word back. He had to accept this. And it so happens that Rama ends up leaving the city. Now when he leaves the city, along with him goes his wife Sita and his brother Lakshmana. Lakshmana's wife Urmila stays back to take care of the mothers and everyone else. And Bharata would be made king. Okay. Now, the entire city is feeling really bad. All the citizens are sad, full of sorrow, and they want to go after Rama wherever he is. Somehow, Rama makes sure that they don't follow him, and he goes away. Just with his wife, Sita, and his brother, Lakshmana. And the 3 of them go. Now, what is happening in the city? Bharata comes back from his grandparents' home because he's called back because Dashratha, after sending his son away, falls really ill, and he feels so sad. He's so sad and hurt that he had to do this, that just by saying his son's name, Rama, he says that and he dies. Okay, so Bharata has to come. Bharata and Shatrughna both come, and when they hear what has happened, Bharata is not happy that he's going to be king. He gets so angry with his mother and he says, "What did you do? What did you do? How could you do that? Of course Rama has to be king. He is the oldest brother. He is the best. And I wouldn't ever want a kingdom like this." Now, Kaikeyi, poor thing, she has understood by now that she had done something really wrong. And all of them go to bring back Rama. But Rama says that he has to keep his father's word. And he tells Bharata to take care of the kingdom and forget about everything. Bharata takes Rama's paduka, that is his chappals, and says, "I'm going to put that on the throne and I will rule the country in your name." Okay, so that way you are not the king, but I am not the king either. Okay, I'm just going to take care of it. And they go away. Now, many years pass. He has been banished for 14 years. So 14 years have passed. During those 14 years, many things have happened both in the city of Ayodhya and in Rama's life, in Rama, Sita's and Lakshmana's life. To say it very shortly, Rama, Sita and Lakshmana travel to different places and they're having a nice time. But then there are many Rakshasas, demons. One is Shurpanakha, the one with very, very sharp nails. She comes and there is a fight and Lakshmana cuts off her nose. And her brother, Ravana, who is the king of Lanka, which is now in Sri Lanka, which we call Lanka, and he comes and kidnaps Sita. He comes and kidnaps Sita, and Rama and Lakshmana find out and are really sad. Rama is totally beside himself because he loves Sita and he can't live without her. So they go to search for her, to look for her. They meet Hanuman, Sugriva. Okay, they go to Rishyamukha mountains and they meet Sugriva and Hanuman, and they find out that their beloved Sita has passed that place over in the sky in something called a Pushpak Viman, okay, in a plane, and that Ravana has kidnapped. So now they are going to look for him. All the Vanara Sena, that is, Vanara means like humans. We in English say monkey, but they are very much like humans on that mountain. And they all go and look for Sita. And it takes quite some time. And at the end of 14 years, Rama wins a very hard fought battle. He wins the battle, Ravana is killed, and Sita is back. Okay, now Sita is back with Rama. They're still on in Lanka. Now what is happening in Ayodhya? There, the citizens are still very sad that Rama is not there. But Bharata, he has made sure that the citizens of Ayodhya are happy, are safe, that they have enough food, they have enough water, they have enough business, and everything is okay. He has made sure of that. But he is still not forgiven his mother, and he still does not sit on the throne. He has the Paduka, that is the chappal of his older brother, on the throne, and he himself has worn the same type of clothes as what Sri Rama and Sita had worn when they left the city. That is just bark, okay, cloth made of bark and hair tied up, not really worried about anything, no jewelry. They are all princes. Bharata is a prince who should be king, who should be ruling. So he should be having a crown and bajuband and good bracelets, big ones, nice waistband, lot of jewelry and silk clothes. He should be dressed up really well. Instead, he doesn't wear any of that. He just wears tulsi beads on his wrist and on his arms. He has a simple tulsi hara, okay, and he ties his hair also just like that with tulsi beads. And he wears a wooden chappal. And he stays not in the palace. It's a beautiful palace, but he doesn't stay there. Instead, he lives in a small little hut just outside the palace walls. He goes every day to work to the palace to make sure that everything is taken properly. He has his meetings with all the ministers. He has his meetings with citizens. But he does not live there. He does not eat his food there. He goes back to his ashrama, to his kutiya or hut, and eats there and comes. That's all. And he lives. He says that my brother is suffering somewhere in some forest, living on berries and stuff. I cannot live like a king, so I'm going to do exactly the same as my brother. And he also lives like that. All the citizens have a lot of respect for Bharata. They love him, but they still want Sri Rama back. There is a deep sadness in their hearts that Sri Rama is suffering somewhere. They don't know what is happening. Sometimes they get some news that, oh, he is there, he has gone to Chitrakuta, Rama has gone to Chitrakuta. They may have heard that Sita has got kidnapped. Rumors kind of things. They don't know for sure what has happened. They know that Rama has gone all the way down south. But again, it's all kind of rumors. They don't really know how he is. They don't know if he's alive. They don't know if he's not. They don't know what has happened to Rama. 14 years is a long time. You know, all those children who would have been in kindergarten, 6-year-old, 5-year-olds, they now would be adults, working, taking care of their own families maybe. Many of them who were in school would be so many years had passed. Many of the older citizens are no longer there. But they have told stories about Sri Rama to their children. So everybody knows Sri Rama. And they are waiting and hoping that he'll come down sometime. Now, what has happened is in Lanka, Rama and Sita are very happy to be together. And Rama says, thank you, Vibhishna, that is the brother of Ravana. And thank you, Vibhishna, it's time for me to go back home. And he has thanked all the Vanara Sena. And he says, now you guys should go back home. He tells Sugriva and Hanuman and all, you guys should go back home. And Vibhishna, you should rule your kingdom. Be happy. And they all say that, no. You know what, Sri Rama, we would love to see you coronated. We would love to see you become king of your nation. We would love to see Ayodhya. So he says, okay, you can come with me. And Vibhishna gives them the Pushpaka Vimana that belongs to Kubera, his oldest brother. Ravana had taken away that also from Kubera. Okay, now it is Kubera. So that Pushpaka Vimana takes Rama, Sita, Sugriva, Hanuman, Vibhishna and all the Vanarasena and Jambavan, the bear, and maybe even the little squirrel. And they all fly up and start their journey towards Ayodhya. Now, as they are flying over, Sri Rama shows Sita all the places. He shows her the battlefield in which they fought. He shows her Mount Rishyamukha, okay, which is in today's Karnataka, okay, present day Karnataka, in a place called Anegondi. That is where Hanuman lived, okay, and Rama shows Sita. There, that's the place where Sugriva and Hanuman all live, and where I started the search for you, where we all went every direction, where they helped me so much. Now Sita says, oh, how nice. Is it possible that all their wives can also come and watch the coronation? I would love to have their company. So they stop a little time in Rishyamukha, and Sugriva's wife Tara and all the other Vanars, ministers, their wives, the Vanara ministers, their wives all come and they all join Sita in the Pushpak Vimana and they all move. Again, as they are going, Rama shows her where Shabri was and he talks about Shabri, and then they go and he tells all the stories of what had happened. Then they reach Chitrakuta, where they were together, and they reach Bharadwaja Muni's ashrama. And they halt there. Now, once they reach there, Sri Rama is welcomed by the Rishi, and Rama asks him, "So, how is everything in Ayodhya? Is everything okay?" And he tells, "Oh, everything is fine. Bharata is doing a good job. I have heard all the stories of what was happening to you and everything. So once in a while, whenever people from my place would go to Ayodhya, they would give some news, but they don't know everything. They still miss you a lot." And so Rama sends Hanuman to meet with Bharata, and to find out whether Bharata is still okay with giving up the kingdom. Because Rama loves Bharata and he doesn't want to just take away the kingdom or any such thing. If Bharata is happy, he'll be happy too. So Hanuman goes and he finds out that Bharata is not in the palace. Hanuman has now disguised himself as a human, because these Vanaras, they were very good at changing forms, and he's a human now. And he goes and he finds where our Bharata is sitting in his hut, and he goes and he tells him that he is bringing some good news. At that time, he sees that Bharata was in a very dejected mood. He seemed very, very sad. It looked as though he was about to kill himself, because 14 years were done and Sri Rama was not yet back. So Hanuman stops him and tells him, "You know what? Sri Rama is back and he's waiting there." And then he tells the whole story to Bharata. Now Bharata is very happy and he goes running into the palace and he tells Shatrughna to come, and he tells his mothers, and he tells all the wives and everyone. He tells, "Okay, let's make arrangements. Let's make beautiful arrangements." And the entire city comes to know. There are flags everywhere. We put up flags everywhere that he's coming. There are fresh flowers stringing the roads everywhere, decorated and everything. And Bharata, Shatrughna and a few ministers all go to get Rama, to welcome him. Now the ladies in the house, they are also waiting. "Oh, Sri Rama is coming." They tell the children, "Oh, you know what? Sri Rama is coming." All these people have heard about Sri Rama. The youngsters, those who are 20-year-old or so, who had remembered that when they were very young, their parents were very sad and everyone was sad. They all remember and say, "Oh my God, Sri Rama is coming back with Sita and Lakshmana. They're all okay." So they all make nice sweets. Everyone makes sweets in their house. And they say, "Oh my God, it will be very dark. He's coming from up there. He's coming on a plane. Will they be able to see? Will they be able to see the roads?" So they start lighting diyas. Little earthen pots with ghee in it and a light there, a lamp. And they every house starts putting diyas everywhere. Okay? And not just the city, all the small villages around the city, everywhere there are lights. And when Hanuman is seeing from top, from the Pushpak Viman, he sees the lights flickering and he tells Sri Rama, look at the Deepavali." That is, Deepa means diya, light. Avali means row. So a row of lights. there are rows and rows and rows of lights. Rama has hugged Bharata. He is so happy to see his brother, and they're all happy, and they're now going. And they reach the city. And Rama sees how happy everyone is, and those lights are what remind us that Sri Rama, for 14 years he has left the city. He has gone through a lot of problems, and so has his wife and his brother. They have defeated so many enemies, and the biggest enemy, Ravana, and then they have come back. And not just that, Bharata, for 14 years, he has, as a good brother, as a good citizen, he has kept the city safe. He has kept the kingdom safe from everyone. And that celebration is what we remember, the triumph of good over evil. And so, since then, every Deepavali, we have the same row of lights everywhere. Rama wins the war against Ravana on Vijayadashmi, and he reaches home on Diwali. Okay, so now that is the end of the story of Diwali. I will ask you one question today. What is the name of Sugriva's wife? What is the name of Sugriva's wife? Namaste.